everybody, it's Tony George along with my good buddy Sean Salisbury, host of the Sean Salisbury Show, over there on iHeartRadio. And we're talking NFL season win totals. And Sean and I are going to sprinkle a bunch of these, not every team, but most of the teams. And of course, who better to talk about the NFL than an ex-NFL quarterback, and of course, a Grey Cup winning quarterback. And we're going to break them down here, and we're kind of doing a couple here on August 11th here, where we're going to talk about our hometown teams in terms of where my heart and soul's in Kansas City. Sean lives down in Houston and does a lot of Houston radio down there and covers the Texans. And, I guess, Sean, there's been a lot of off-season, a saga with Deshaun Watson, and we're not going to get into the politics of it and the accusers. There's been no criminal charges, this, that, and the other. But he's shown up to preseason camp. They're sitting on a total of 5 wins. Just your overall thoughts, Shauna, what's going on down in Houston with the new coaching staff, the team, what to expect? What do you expect? I still think there's a lot of speculation and conjecture down there.
Yeah, this is one of the oddest off seasons and heading into camp and coming out of camp that I've ever been, when I say close to, covered or even been a part of on a team, Tony. It's great to be with you. It's baffling because here's what you're going to more than likely see with Watson. We won't get into all the legal stuff, is that they're not going to come down with a commissioner's exempt between now and the start of the season. He's not going to not show up. They're not going to start him because even if he went to him, I asked the question of somebody in the know today. And I said, do you believe that if Watson went to them now and said, I do want to play for you, that they would start him? And he said, probably. I said, if they went to him and said, we want to start you, what would he say? He'd say, I'm not interested. So even with that and all that, there's still this confidence about Watson that because he has no trade clause, that he can go where he wants, Tony, or he can say, no, I'm not going there, I am. And there's a trade value situation that's not very good right now. They don't want 50 cents on the dollar. So you could see the situation. He's maybe standing on the field in a uniform, getting paid his full salary without being on an exempt list, waiting for the legal stuff and what he wants to do as the third quarterback, not playing even though he's not restricted, which will be the oddest thing. It's unprecedented what we've seen. We've seen guys with injuries, but he's not injured. A little tightness in the ankle, but so it's weird. And what would happen if the first 2 quarterbacks got hurt in a game and he had to go in? Would he say, go all Scottie Pippen, Tony Kukoc, I'm not going in to take the shot because you didn't design it for me? Weird stuff. All that being said, I don't think he's ever playing another down in Houston because he doesn't want to. Forget the legal stuff, which is going to come into play at some point again when they make the decision. The Houston Texans at 5 wins. Tony, it is so weird because now you look at the division. Will Carson Wentz be healthy? Tennessee, with Carson Wentz out, is clearly the best team in the division. And you got a rookie head coach, and a rookie quarterback in Jacksonville. So for me, when you throw 5 at me, 4.5 was easier. 5 to me earlier, when it's gone up. Tyrod Taylor's a veteran. It's a new coaching staff. I don't think any of us know what to expect. 50 new friggin' players on this team. 50. And Tony, you'll love this before I tell you my final talk. Do you realize we haven't had a preseason game other than the Hall of Fame game? You know this as we sit here today.
Yes.
Do you realize the Texans announced this morning that they're breaking camp today? Did you hear what?
No.
We haven't played a preseason game. They're going into regular season mode, and we have not played a preseason game yet. I've never heard anything. Usually it was we're in preseason game 4. 2 days before they cut camp, everybody dashes home. They're so excited. They've had, 6, 7 padded practices out of camp for a team that's got a new staff. So it's weird. That being said, with the division in flux because of the quarterback situation on 3 of the 4 teams, it pains me to say this, but in a 17-game season, it doesn't pain me, but I know they're not very good. I'm going to take the over. I'm going to take the over with them. I don't think it's much more over, but I'm going to take the over because with a veteran quarterback, I would think in 17-game season, yet that probably won't, if they get the over, it probably won't be the first pick of the draft next year, which they're in line for. So I am going to take the over and think this is a 6-11 team and they'll be in the top 4 or 5 picks, but they're going to be in that area where they're like, oh, we missed out. They'd probably want the under if Watson's not coming back, the front office. But I'm going to take the over on this and say they get to 6 wins. But I don't know if I have the guts to gamble it. Does that make sense to pick it? But I will take the over for the Texans.
This is one of those gun to your head picks. And of course, the reason we wanted to get your insights because you're covering them down there in Houston, along with all sports Houston wise. If you look at their schedule, the thing that scares the piss out of me, they do open up at home against Jacksonville. But the one thing about Jacksonville, as you know, Sean, with a rookie quarterback and a brand new head coach, and you played in the NFL, you're facing a team. They're not going to show anything in the preseason. And I've never seen, other than Pete Carroll, really a highly successful coach. Maybe Matt Rule's going to be in Carolina, but a highly successful coach in college that goes to the NFL and it rarely converts over. There are a couple exceptions, but not very many. So you don't know what you're getting with Jacksonville. But then they go to Cleveland, they play Carolina, they got to play Buffalo, they got to play New England, they got to play the Colts. And the Colts at that point in time, late in October, may have Wentz back. Right now, it's Ellinger from Texas and
Jacob
the kid
Eason.
out of Washington. Then they're at Arizona, Rams, and Miami. They very well could be going into their bye week 1-8. That's the thing that scares me. So that being said, your thoughts on 2 different things with Houston, and then we'll let it go because we already have your pick. Your thoughts on Tyrod Taylor as a quarterback, and your thoughts on the loss of J.J. Watt, their leader on defense.
And Tony, real quick about that. See, that's why for me, I would lean closer to what you're saying, that they're going to be 2-7, 1-8. I think because the quarterback situation, maybe they could split with Indianapolis. I think they could split with maybe sweep Jacksonville, depending on. So that's 3 wins. And you say, can they milk 3 more? Tony, really, when you look at the roster, it probably says no. But it's like, man, it's hard to lose 11 games when you got, or 12 games, should I say, 5-12, if they hit the number exactly, or 6-11. So, yeah, I'm probably going to be wrong, and I think I'm doing this because I live in Houston and I'm an optimist, even though I'm a diehard Raider fan. That's for another story and another video. I think Tyrod Taylor's the perfect guy for what they need right now. A veteran. Every coach I've ever talked to that coached him or teammates that have played with him, ultimate pro, ego will stay out of it. He'll compete. He's not a big chance taker, so he'll protect the football and at least give you a chance in every game. Now the question is, can guys around him elevate? Because he's not going to carry on his back for games, but he is not going to usually beat himself. He's pretty good at that, and he's held in such high regard in the league by coaches who have coached him. And so that's one. Secondly, it's just a simple. Their defense was so bad last year, even with J.J. Watt, almost historic bad, Tony. So I don't know how much that's going to make a difference because one guy may not make a difference unless you could have a great pass rusher. If I double team him and nobody else can do their job, then we're screwed, right? I got to at least have some threat. But they got to be better, Tony. They have to be better, not because Watt's gone, but because personnel-wise in a new scheme, going to a 4-3 defense with Lovie Smith, you can't tackle worse than they did last year. And they were gashed in the run game to the point of humiliation where you think, I'm watching 7th graders play defense. So I would think that they would have to elevate their defense, but emotionally and check you and accountability, we're going to find out who that guy is or who takes over that role now that J.J. Watt's gone. Definite loss, but in losing J.J. Watt, they've still got to become a better defense because they were an embarrassment to watch last year.
Yeah, well, a couple things. If Ingram at running back, they picked up Ingram. If he can get back to his form that he had a couple years ago with Baltimore, that's going to be big. Also, their offense is kind of set up for a mobile quarterback, and Tyrod Taylor's a mobile quarterback. I know they got a whole new scheme in there this year with a new head coach and this, that, and the other. But if they build around, being able to utilize a dual threat quarterback, which is the way to go in the league nowadays, the Statue of Liberty, stand up, drop back passer outside of Tom Brady doesn't work a whole lot in the NFL unless you're Tom Brady. But at the end of the day, I think maybe they have some pieces of the puzzle. If they can get the ground game going, they'll still be a physical team. and I think they'll give some teams some problems. I think they land right on 5 wins, actually, as I
Yeah,
look deep into their schedule.
Tony, you make a great point. This team, while a mobile quarterback, not near as mobile as Watson, but isn't as stiff in the pocket, right? He can move and buy time
Right.
in Tyrod Taylor. But you make the best point. They are going to lean on Phillip Lindsay, Mark Ingram, and David Johnson as far as a three-headed monster. Now, they may not get what one star would get, but if they can get 14 to 1,500 yards between them and, say, 80 catches combined with 3 guys, 75, then you're in a productive position. And you're right, they are going to be run first, pass second, as opposed to what they've been in the past, Watson first, run second. They're going to have to lean on protecting the football.
Well, they're going to have to count a lot on their offensive line to run block and run the football. I'd say probably 60-40, 65-35. If they do, that keeps, and they're successful with it, that keeps opposing offenses off the field, keeps the score down, and keeps them in ball games, and maybe something can happen, as something always does in the NFL. He's Sean Salisbury. Find him at iHeartRadio with the Sean Salisbury Show, the best sports talk show in the country. And, of course, on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. And be sure and check out Sean and I here. We're back up and rolling here after a little bit of a hiatus, and we're fired up about the NFL. We're getting out some free plays for you as well down the road and talking about Major League Baseball. It's good to have you back, Sean. And, of course,
Great to be back.
we're going to be talking on our other video today about my hometown Kansas City Chiefs. So be sure and tune in for that, folks.